to the Jeff and Hammy Show. I'm Hammy.
I'm Jeff.
And today, Jeff is going to do another lesson from his training book. We're going to go over the test drive. Go ahead, Jeff.
That's right. So if you guys remember, this is called How to Sell a Car Every Day. I'm making a great resource. It'll be available soon. And Hammy's actually going to be studying it quite extensively to sharpen your game, right?
Yeah, like I was like, what? I don't do that much on a test drive. I sit there and be quiet.
Yeah, exactly. So we're calling this one Going for a Drive. And I've got a quote here from a guy named Dale Carnegie. It says, people rarely succeed unless they have fun in what they're doing. And if you're not having fun in this business, then you need to go do something else. I think the test drive is probably one of the most fun parts of the business. I mean, gosh, you're in a new car most of the time. You're with the customer. It's their first experience, maybe in a long time in a new car. They're smelling the inside of the car. What is the first thing that people do?
You know what? I've been doing this so long now, I can't smell the new car smell anymore.
Oh, you can't smell it?
Yeah, I mean, we forget this as, senior salespeople sometimes, that even that smell of the car stimulates like endorphins and things like that are exciting to people. And we got to remember, this is a big deal for them, and us, we're doing this on a daily basis, and some of us, like even Jeff and I, will have multiple cars in a single day, so it just seems like a daily thing. But for that customer, that's their once in 3 years or once in 5 year thing.
Yep, and you have to have those good endorphins going. Like this is the emotional part of the business where you get those good feelings going. What's the first thing when you open up a new car? People go, "Oh, I can smell that smell." So that's what we're talking about. We're talking about going on the demo drive, having fun with your customer. And if I could say one thing is, when you go on a demo drive, especially if you're new, a lot of times people just want to go on a quick drive. Let's get to it. Hey, are you buying the car or not? That's not a good way to do it, okay? What you want to do is you want to take the longer route, not the short route. I've seen so many guys who could just go for a quick test drive. No, if you know you got some people that are halfway interested, go on a longer drive. What's that going to do? That's going to put in their mind internalizing the car.
Yeah, well, let me interject to that, Jeff. I would say what you're going to see a lot of times, if you're cutting corners and then you're just quickly going into the sale. There's a lot of people like I've seen here that haven't even done a test drive. They show the car off and walk in and try to start writing up, and then they get into this huge negotiation battle with the customer, and they're grinding on the price, grinding on the payment, grinding on the interest, grinding on their trade. And the reason why is because they haven't driven the car. They didn't get the customer excited about it. They don't have the endorphins built up, and that's part of it.
Right, and people are not going to make a $500 payment if they're not even emotionally connected. When people come in and say, "Oh, I don't need to drive it," I think it's a big mistake. 95% of the time, hey, just humor me, let's go on a drive. And then when the wife's got her arms crossed, hey, why don't you take it for a spin? It'll be amazing. You'll see the husband or whoever else is helping them with the process say, "Hey, yeah, why don't you drive it?" And it's amazing what happens when both parties take the long route and they drive the car, they feel the car. So
I could tell you this from like a one-legged customer that comes in without their significant other, and they're a decision maker, and they go and we do everything for them. That generally doesn't work out too well because the other person is not excited. They haven't got into the ether, and I don't like cliches too much, but it truly is in this instance the feel of the wheel seals the deal. So you got to get the wife or the husband, whoever's not here, involved, and they need to be in that vehicle, sitting in it, driving it, show them the features and those things too.
Sure. Feel the wheel seals the deal. That's a good one. I didn't even think of that one. That was good. So I like to ask a couple questions on the test drive. So now that you're on the test drive, it's not rocket science at all. Some guys like to be quiet. I actually think it's good to ask a few open-ended questions like, "Hey, how does it feel?" And a lot of the times those people are like, "Oh, this feels great." That's a good sign. Another one I like to say, "It feels smooth, doesn't it?" I know this is so basic, but they're just going, "Yeah, this feels really, really smooth." And I like to say, "Is it a little bit more quiet than you have now?" "Yeah, this is a lot more quiet." And then you kind of watch how the parties that are buying the car, how are they interacting? "Hey kids, how do you like it?" You're getting everybody involved, and you're wanting to get some type of response that's saying, hey, that they like what they're driving.
I do that often. So I don't talk a whole lot on my test drives, but one of the things I do bring up, especially if a customer's coming out of a used vehicle that's a another brand and not a Toyota. Like the first thing you get in a Toyota, how nice it rides.
Yeah.
The next thing you'll notice is how quiet it is and stuff. And I bring those up. You like notice how nice the ride this thing is. Do you notice how we could talk at a low voice and we hear each other very easily?
Right.
That the Toyota's got like thicker windshields and more insulation in the car, thicker side glass, and they do a lot to make the interior of the vehicle more quiet inside the cabin of the vehicle. And so I bring up stuff like that, and they're like, oh yeah. So that's starting to get them excited, and it's also an open-end thing too.
Absolutely, and you're starting to get a good dialogue going with your customer. And then I like to say, have you ever driven this before? So again, these are some little hooks that you can kind of throw out there to just kind of dialogue with your customer. If I'm on a test drive and nobody's saying anything, that's not the best indication. Most of the time when people are excited about something, they're going to dialogue. Hey, this is nice, man. How long you been selling? What's going on? Oh, man, we really like this. So again, you want to have a few questions, open questions that they can answer. And then the last thing here that I want to nail is that when you're on the test drive, you asked a few questions, you're going on the long route, okay? You want to focus on what we call benefits, not just features. A rookie salesman or someone that's just bad in sales can say, well, there's the start button, there's the clock, there's the cruise control. Well, it doesn't take anybody with skills to say there's the steering wheel.
Yeah, well,
there's the cruise control.
Let me bring something up. So I live on a street that's off of the main interstate here. And earlier in the spring, there was a double fatality accident from this, where the road was going straight, and then it makes a bend. It's not a hard bend or anything, but it's a bend going to the left, and two people flew off the road, went through the chain link fence, and then hit an oak tree, and they both were deceased on the scene there. And I tell customers this not to be morbid, but I said all these Toyotas now have the lane departure alert, lane steer assist, and a lot of them have the lane trace assistance.
Yeah.
If they had that technology in the vehicle, those people would probably be alive today. And so that's a big deal, And I said all this interactive things that's Toyota Safety Sense and whatever else is out there with the other brands are all to help you save your life and keep you from getting an accident.
Safety is a huge thing. So again, not just, hey, here's a cruise control that works. If a car slows down, maybe it'll stop you, but you really get into it and say, hey, let me tell you the benefit. Imagine going on a road trip with your family. Imagine you took your eye off the road for a second. And what if that car in front of you slammed its brakes? This car will slow itself down for that half a second. You turn back, it saved you from a massive accident with your family in the car.
Oh, yeah.
So again, that's a benefit, okay? A benefit would be, notice the panoramic sunroof. Can you imagine going on a long road trip with the family and the family feels comfortable in the back seat versus here's a sunroof and you can see the sky. Again, get talking about benefits that will benefit the customer buying the car. That's going to set you so far apart from the regular guy.
And hey, Jeff, we kind of skipped over this, so let's reverse a little bit. In 5 or 6 years ago, you were the national walk around champion of doing a walk around on a Prius, and went to Carmel and to the Ritz-Carlton and won the championship there, which was awesome, and at Pebble Beach and all that. But isolating that car and doing a good presentation. Now, you don't have to do this super thorough thing Jeff did, because that's kind of a bit over the top. But talk about how you present the car and how you isolate it and what you do before you get in the test drive.
Yeah, I think you've got to be such a good listener and what's important to your customer. And that's what I pull out of the car. If the mom's saying, hey, safety is really, really important to me, I'm going to really make it an effort to talk about safety. If they're saying, hey, we just want the cool factor, I'm going to talk about the sport and the things that make it a cool factor. So I'm going to do my best to mirror the customer on what they're saying that they're interested in and really highlighting those things around the car. And that's what you're doing on the demo drive. You're kind of enhancing that. You're having fun. You're listening. Oh yeah, safety. Let me tell you about the safety. Oh yeah, it's got more space. Can you imagine? You told me you're going on long road trips with your family. Notice how much more space and comfort you're going to have.
So you're saying that you have 2 ears, 2 eyes, and 1 mouth, and that you're actually listening to what the customer's telling you, and then making your presentation based off of what the customer's hot buttons are.
That's exactly right. And you got to get really good at turning those into benefits. Here's the benefit of buying my car versus some of the others. And another thing that I've learned is you don't want to bash, oh, I would never buy that brand. But I'd say, hey, that's a good brand, but let me just tell you what separates our brand from everyone else.
Exactly.
And let me give it to you. You know, and sometimes it might not be that much. I mean, all these new cars are so close. It's that extra little bit that you bring to the table that will get that customer buying from you.
Yeah, I mean, definitely we have a little advantage selling Toyota, so there's always going to be something in every brand, but with our resale, our reliability are the two things I'm always bringing up. So I mean, that's why most customers want a Toyota, is because they know they're super reliable. Not that they don't break, but they don't break as often as other brands. Yeah. And then also when the time they're ready to move on from that vehicle, that they're getting more of their money back than most brands also.
They really are.
So it's not, really the end cost of a vehicle is how much you paid for it during the time you owned it and how much you get back for it by the time you sell it. So, like I talk about this all the time with our Tundras. Okay, the F-150 and the certain models that used to be, like where you could save a few $1,000s in gas over a 5-year period, like $2,000 in gas. But we'll go resell that same F-150 and it loses $10,000 of equity versus the Tundra. What actually cost you more money in the long run? Which was the Tundra was $8,000 less to own.
Yeah, and that's a good thing to bring up if people are kind of wondering, well, what are the reviews on this model versus this? Let's talk about resale too. So again, but nothing happens, I believe, until emotionally they get excited about driving the car, feeling the car. The feel of the wheel
seals
the deal. So just to recap really quick, take the longer route versus a shorter route. Focus on benefits, not just the features. And I like to do this. Ask 1 or 2 questions on the drive that's going to engage your customer. And then you just got to have fun.
Awesome. Well, I think that's it for today. So thank you again for watching the Jeff and Hammy Show. We'll see you next time.
See you next time.